Good evening, MFHL fans, and welcome to episode 4 of the MFHL Podcast, brought to you by Made Canada Fasteners and Tools, Terraco, and Goaltenders. I'm your host, Graham, the gshow Forsyth. Thanks for tuning in to another edition of this podcast. We got some guests joining tonight's episode. Tried something a bit different at the start of tonight, using a graphic that we used to promote this episode on our social medias today. So I think that's what I'm going to do moving forward, just to make sure that things are going well with the stream and that it's actually going. Instead of seeing a black screen, not that appealing. I think that's the way to go moving forward. Leave your thoughts in the comments down below what you think of that moving forward if we use that to start off the shows. But yeah, in terms of tonight's episode, Stephanie Jacob, Brienne Comte, and Rachel Halderson will all be joining the show. Brienne and Stephanie will be up first together, Rachel later in the show, and they're going to be joining the show to talk about their experience over at the National Women's Championships U18 tournament in Dawson Creek, BC. And if we take a look at some pictures, there were 9 players in total from the MFHL that went over to play in that tournament. 2 from the Winnipeg Ice and Comte and Jacob, 1 from Central Plains over there in Denbo, a few from the Westman Wildcats and Hybers and Franklin, Thompson and Ray, both from the Yellowhead Chiefs, and Halderson, of course, from the Interlake Lightning. Nice to see all these girls getting together, being able to represent their province at a tournament where they ended up finishing 7th place, but they ended up getting the final win of the tournament, which is a bright spot. And really, it was great to hear the perspectives from all 3 of these players, starting off with Stephanie and Brienne, about what the experience was like for them, how much it meant for them, what they're going to be using it for their teams to help them achieve the best success they can moving forward, and also talking about the season that Brienne and Stephanie have been having with the Winnipeg Ice so far, their careers up until this point with them, and much more coming up. First here on the 4th episode of the MFHL Podcast, brought to you by Made Canada Fasteners and Tools, Terraco, as well as Goaltenders, Brienne Comte, and Winnipeg Ice captain Stephanie Jacob up next to start things off here with the lineup of guests for tonight's episode. And joining me on this edition of the MFHL Podcast now is 2 of 9 MFHL players that went to the National Women's Championships in Dawson Creek, BC. It's Stephanie Jacob, captain of the Winnipeg Ice, as well as Brienne Comte, senior defenseman for the Winnipeg Ice. How are you girls doing coming off of that exciting weekend or week over at BC representing Team Manitoba?
Yeah, we're doing good, or I'm doing good, I guess. It's been kind of busy, just kind of got back from nationals last night pretty late, so kind of getting back into the swing of things here, but it's been going good.
And for you, Brienne?
Yeah. Oh, same here. It's been going good. It was a pretty busy week, so just getting back to things normally.
How was that whole experience like throughout those 6 days from the 5th to the 11th of being with different teammates, doing different things in terms of having different game day schedules than what you girls are used to? Take me through what that experience was like down in BC with Team Manitoba.
Yeah, no, it was an amazing experience. It was really cool getting to play with and against such skilled players at a very fast-paced game. Team Manitoba itself was really good. Everyone got along, which made the experience even more special. Also seeing everything that was set up and done for us was really something else. Just realizing how much time and all the volunteers that got put into the event is really cool. And then, of course, the coaching staff was also great. They were very knowledgeable and approachable. So overall, it was a really good experience.
Right on.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Brienne. I think that it's always such a good experience to be able to play like at the national level against the best female athletes in the country, and just being able to play at that speed of the game is so much fun and a great learning experience. And being able to bond with teammates that we don't get to play with throughout the year is also so much fun. So just, yeah, overall, an amazing experience.
Yeah, like I said, you girls were two of 9 MFHL players who went. They were players from teams like Yellowhead, Westman, Central Plains, even the Interlake Lightning playing there. So getting to suit up with these girls and the amount of games you girls had a chance to play in with them, what was that dynamic like in terms of playing with them rather than playing against them this time around?
Yeah, I think it was really fun, especially since, like you said, we're usually used to playing against each other, so we kind of all know each other. But leading up to nationals, we honestly didn't get too much time to practice together as a team. So it was really cool, kind of just seeing how the team meshes together and just how it works like that.
Yeah, no, I have to agree with Steph on that one. It's really cool just because you play against them, so you know of them, but playing together on a team and getting to know them even better is something pretty cool.
Well, for you, Brienne, you had a huge moment in this tournament, scoring 1 goal, and that 1 goal came against Team Atlantic in that game to win 7th place in the tournament. Taking you back to that moment, that excitement, exhilaration that I'm sure was going through your mind when you potted that one.
Yeah, I guess scoring the goal was pretty exciting, and it was obviously a great feeling. But that win was because of all the effort that our team put throughout the whole game, being relentless. Talking about the goal itself, the Fords basically just set it up for me. All I had to do was put the puck on net. So, yeah.
Well, right on. A great moment for you. And I think that's something great that you spoke about, crediting the team. And for this Team Manitoba team, 3 losses to start things off, another loss in the quarterfinals. But most of those losses were pretty close. So to put it all together for one last game, being together for one last time against Team Atlantic to salvage the weekend or the week with a win, how huge was that in terms of the growth that this group went through to accomplish that on the Saturday game?
Yeah, like you said, every game, even though the first 4 we didn't come up with the win, they were all really close games, and we felt as a team that we could play with every team that we played against. I mean, we were within a few goals every game, and I think that we really showed what Team Manitoba is all about and that we can keep up with the other provinces.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. Although we didn't win the first 4 games, we were still in the game and we competed well with the other teams. But it was great to end the week on a good note.
I'll get Brienne to answer this next one first, and then you can, Stephanie. But obviously, an experience where there were some losses, ending off with the win, getting to represent Team Manitoba is always such an honor. I know, especially for the girls that are able to do it in the MFHL, from who I've talked to in the past. But what are you girls taking out of this experience in terms of the lessons learned to help and bring this to your Winnipeg Ice team for the rest of the MFHL season?
Um, I guess it's just you play at such a high-speed pace game and everyone is so skilled. So bring back that experience and what you've learned from playing such a high-paced game and bring it back to our league, I guess is something that we can bring back.
Yeah, I think for me, kind of just bringing back that everyone on the team has their own role, and no matter what role it is, it's important to fill, and just kind of bringing back some of the positive energy that we had from nationals back to our team and kind of just keep it going.
Well, there's been a lot of positives this season for the Winnipeg Ice. 7-1 right now, first place, and you girls get to rejoin them for the upcoming matchups and for the rest of the season. How nice is it to know you're going to be back and be able to get back into the normal swing of things with this Winnipeg Ice team?
Yeah, I'm really excited. It actually feels like it's been forever since we've played with the Ice, but it's really exciting going back into it. We play against the Avros on Friday, so that'll be a really good game to jump back into it. And yeah, it's really exciting.
I also have to agree on that. Like Steph said, it's been a while since we've played, or it feels like it's been a while since we've played with the ice team. So getting back to it, we have a full weekend ahead. So we'll see how it goes.
And yeah, I mean, you girls have been with this team too for a number of years now. Steph, you joined the team back in 2020. Brienne, you arrived in 2021. Going through the ups and downs of not only losing a championship, but winning a championship last season, going through the Western qualifiers. You girls have been through quite a journey in these past few seasons. Talk about what it's been like going through the journeys that this team has gone through as individuals and as a group to fail once, get into a championship, and to be able to respond the next year and be able to get redemption in winning the first championship in Winnipeg Ice history last season.
Yeah, obviously, 2 years ago when we lost in the finals, it wasn't a great feeling. And I think the year after that, especially for the returning players, it's something that as a team, we didn't want to feel again, you could say. I felt that last year going into the finals, it sorry, I lost words there. Yeah, it was just something that we didn't want to experience again. So as a team, we worked collectively to try to win the finals, which happened.
Yeah, I think definitely like Brand said, it wasn't the best feeling losing in finals our first year, but I mean, even just getting to the finals was something to be proud of as we look back on it. And in Westerns last year, once we got there, our coaches were telling us it's really difficult to win without losing first. And I think that's something that is definitely true. I mean, the first year we hadn't been to finals yet, and we didn't know what it was like. But having that loss almost helped us out last year because we knew what it felt like to lose, and we didn't want to go through that again.
Well, this team has quite a few returning players to it, some rookies as well. Could you girls, doesn't matter who answers this one first, but talk about how the team's been able to bond so far this year with you girls being the returning players and being leaders on this team and welcoming them in and bonding as one so far this year?
Yeah, I think our first year we had a lot of rookies, and so we've kind of carried it on to our last year here. And so we have a solid core of vets on the team, and kind of just all sticking together and trying to help the rookies learn everything about the team and the league, and just kind of trying to compete together and help the team mesh.
Yeah, like Steph said, we have a lot of younger girls this year. So just being able to lead them and show them what it takes to play at this level. Our team itself, the rookies, they meshed in our team pretty easily. So the team has been getting along really well right now.
For you, Stephanie, you currently lead the MFHL in points with 15, also in goals. It's your final season here in the league, wearing the C with the Winnipeg Ice. Can you just speak about what's went into this season to start things off in terms of the development you've had leading up to it throughout the years of playing in the MFHL to have this type of impact, being the captain of this year's Ice team?
Yeah, I think definitely a big part of it is kind of just going through your years. And with my third year now, I have so much more confidence that I did when I first started out. And that's probably the biggest part, is just kind of learning the pace of the game and just getting more confident as you go, and kind of learning about the players you play against, the teams you play against, the way they're coached, the way they play, and just kind of the experience throughout helps.
And yeah, I mean, you've been such a huge part of this team's success so far this year in terms of putting up 10 goals out of the 26 so far. And defensively, this team has been really good so far. Like, Brienne and Stephanie, there was some turnover on this year's decor in terms of some new rookies coming in, but you're one of the returnees to this year's decor. Brienne, can you talk about, what it's been like in your final season here in the league to start things off? What it's been like playing with these girls and how you felt you've developed?
Yeah, no, our decor is obviously something that is pretty strong just because the majority of them are returning girls. My journey throughout my 3 years, as you said, I think I have the same thing with Steph. When you're coming into your first season of playing AAA, it's a little bit intimidating just because the fact that you're playing with girls that are 3 years older than you. And the skill and the speed of the game is just so much better than when you played at U15. So I think my biggest change in my game was also my confidence.
Well, yeah, and I mean that confidence coming through in that tournament with Team Manitoba recently, and yeah, it's going to be great for this team to get the confidence you two bring to the table back this weekend in a big one, going up against the city rival in the Winnipeg Avros, and then playing the Yellowhead Chiefs on Sunday. Of course, these two teams both near the top of the standings, along with you girls in the MFHL. What's the mindset heading into this weekend ahead, going up against two hungry teams that also have a lot of skill that want to come out and beat this ice team?
Yeah, we know both of the teams are at the top, so I think we just have to stick to our game and play our game that we've been playing this year. Yeah, and just the hard forecheck and everything, just play our game.
Yeah, I agree. It's really fun kind of to be able to play the teams for the first time in the season. Like Avros we haven't played yet, and Yellowhead we played one in exhibition. So it's really fun to kind of play the first game of the season against a team and see what they're like compared to last year, and kind of see how we match up against each other and just try and get the win.
Well, should be an exciting weekend for this Winnipeg Ice team for sure. Great that yourself, Stephanie, and yourself as well, Brienne, will be able to be back in the lineup, rejoining this team. Best of luck against the Avros and the Chiefs this upcoming weekend. And thanks for joining me. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Yes.
And Stephanie Jacob, Brienne Compte joining this edition of the MFHL Podcast, episode 4, brought to you by Make Canada Fasteners and Tools, Terrico, and of course, as you just saw on your screen, goaltenders. Great to hear that their experience was a positive one with Team Manitoba, finishing 7th place, but finishing off with a spirited win. Excellent stuff to hear about and talk about with Stephanie and Brienne, and also, great to hear that, the thing that's really helped them improve throughout the years is just having so much experience of getting reps, playing games, and having full confidence now in their senior season. But I learned something, and I'm sure most of you have seen this article. I found it on CTV. This came out on Friday, and it's something that you never like hearing about at all. It's devastating to hear about if it's true. Everything is just allegations at this point. Investigation is going on, but the article actually from CBC, reading Winnipeg woman 28 charged with sexually assaulting teen girl she coached on hockey team, and the coach in question is Madison Billock, charged with 15 offenses, including luring, sexual interference, possessing, child pornography, and she's also being charged with, like I said, sexual interference, invitation to sexual touching, luring a person under 16, 2 counts of luring a person under 18, 2 counts of transmitting, making available, distributing, or selling sexually explicit material to a person under 16. The list goes on and on here, and it's sad because this is a coach who's been coaching with Hockey Manitoba for 5 years, not coaching at this point until the investigation gets sorted out. It's what's been reported from what I've seen, but she's been coaching with Hockey Manitoba since 2018, 2023. Interlake gets mentioned in this story here, so I assume she was with that association, but it seemed like no one knew that this was going on until a video started circulating on social media and brought the attention of people like Peter Woods, executive director of Hockey Manitoba, as well as Kyle Willis, the director of Interlake Minor Hockey, and he said his organization was first made aware about the situation from a social media post that contained allegations of abuse governing hockey bodies at the city and provincial level, along with the RCMP and Winnipeg police were promptly contacted, he said to CTV's reporter journalist in Bryce Hoy. Now, the incident allegedly took place between Billick and a teenage player from 2019-2021. Investigators first received a tip, according to CTV, about a sexually exploitative relationship. So, yeah, at this point, nothing has been fully proven, but there are allegations out there, and seemingly strong ones at that. I don't really know why a kid would lie about that. Someone that's 16 years old that, should still have their innocence and keep that, right? And it's tough. You also got to question, where did this start? Could this have been avoided? Like, where was this happening? Because this was only found out recently through social media. Could this have been happening between player and coach contacting each other through social media? I think, during this investigation, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. It's just, I've said it so much already, but it's devastating to see, because it's another example of someone in power abusing it as a coach, having that power dynamic from player to coach. It's something that is terrifying, especially if you're a parent, thinking that your kid can be trusted with a coach, someone that should be a mentor really to their player. I for the victim out there, I hope that she is doing okay. I can't even imagine what someone that experiences something as traumatizing like this may be going through. It's a shame. I pray that no one knew about it outside of Billick, of course. I hope that someone didn't know about it and just let it fly by. But I'd hope it didn't happen at all, honestly, because this is just something you don't want to hear about. Like I said, allegations at this point, as reported by CTV. Going to keep you updated on it on next week's edition of this podcast, if there are any updates on the story. But it's another bad look, unfortunately, in the hockey world, and this time, unfortunately, coming from Manitoba, if these allegations are true. But we are going to take it to a transition here, and we're going to try to lighten things up a bit and do a bit of league report with the MFHL and talk about what's been happening over the past little while, in the past weekend. So, that's coming up next here on the MFHL Podcast for Episode 4, brought to you by Mid-Canada Fasteners and Tools, Terrico, and Goaltenders. Just notice, folks, that my mic was muted the whole time. Welcome back to this edition of the MFHL Podcast. I was talking about how I was talking about interviewing Stephanie Jacob and Brianne Compte to start things off for this edition of the show. And if we take a look at what these players have done this season, most notably Jacob, she has had one season to remember so far. She leads the league in points so far, in one less game played than some of these players in this league, than quite a few players in this league to this point, as missing some time playing with Team Manitoba in that tournament. But yeah, 15 assists, 15 points, 5 assists, 10 goals for 7 games played so far. Hannah Ray, also a Team Manitoba player, 3 points behind her with 12 points in 8 games played. And then you can see there for 5th place, there's a 3-way tie between Paige Crossley for the Westman Wildcats, their leading point getter, Rio Pierre, who's been fantastic in a rookie season with the Winnipeg Avros, and Dara Thompson, another Team Manitoba player with 10 points, 8 of those being goals. And if we take a look at the goals leaders, Dara Thompson in the top 3 there, tied with Paige Crossley for second in the league, Stephanie Jacob leading all players with 10 goals. Then there's a tie for 5th in goals with Isabella Carrier and Reese Shute for the Westman Wildcats. If we're taking a look at the assist leaders, well, no one has been better than Hannah Ray and Celine Wozni so far. With 9 assists, Celine Wozni with 1 less game played. Mackenzie Lizotte and Chloe Nicholas, both players for Winnipeg teams, both tied for 3rd in assists, and then a 4-way tie, as you can see there, for 6 assists, starting with Abigail Brigg and then ending with Erica Stutzky on that list. Only defenseman on this list coming from the Westman Wildcats. If we take a look at the goaltending stats, Natalie Rampton with 6 wins and only 1 loss so far, 2 shutouts. Laura Meliza and Bailey Grunwald, both with 2 shutouts as well. Save percentages for all of these goaltenders, absolutely ridiculous, but Laura Melissa, hers stands out the most with a .958 save percentage. Natalie Rampton with .940, and I guess Adriana Almeida as well for the Winnipeg Avros. Hers probably stands out the most with .962 as her save percentage, a goals against average of under 1, which is insane, ridiculous. And yeah, I mean, for Stephanie Jacob, just touching on her one last time. I said it when I was muted. I want to say it again, but she was the only player out of the players from the MFHL that ended up getting to wear a letter, which at the end of the day doesn't mean that much to these players, as it always, seems to be the case, but just showing her leadership as she's the captain for the Winnipeg Ice, getting recognized for her leadership at the U18 Nationals. But taking a look at the goaltending stats again, as you can see there, I guess you can't see it in terms of the wins because this is sorted by wins. But speaking of save percentage, a player that's going to be joining the show next year, in Rachel Halderson for the Interlake Lightning, has a .941 save percentage so far this year for her squad. And yes, they haven't had the most success, but Halderson is, she decided to stay with this group this season in her last year in the league, sticking with what's familiar in a place where she's made so many memories. She got to compete in the national championships for Team Manitoba recently. As mentioned, I had a chance to ask her about that experience as well as much more about just what type of player she is, her time with Interlake, and her thoughts on an upcoming weekend ahead where the team has 2 games against the Central Plains Capitals and the Pembina Valley Hawks. You're watching the MFHL podcast here on G-Show Productions, brought to you by Midcanton Fasteners and Tools, Terrico, and Goaltenders. Coming up next, my interview with the one and only Rachel Halderson here on G-Show Productions on the MFHL podcast. Another Team Manitoba member joins this edition of the MFHL podcast. Now it's goaltender for the Interlake Lightning, Rachel Halderson. Rachel, you just got back from a busy week with Team Manitoba, along with Stephanie Jacob, Brianne Compte, and everyone. Also, the 9 players that were representing Team Manitoba at the National Women's Championships. Take me back to what that week was like for you.
It was absolutely amazing. It was one to really remember. There was a great group of girls. Everyone was so talented. It was just an honor. And just having a great coaching staff and like also getting to play with all the other best girls in in Canada. So it was just an honor to be there and play with all those girls.
You had a chance to play in 3 games from what I saw. You had a chance to start in the last game of the tournament, getting the win for Team Manitoba. How nice was that to see all the hard work pay off for this team? Finally, you got a win with you backstopping them.
It was absolutely like amazing. It was really nice to finally get a win under our belts. Even though it was the last game, it was just ecstatic. Everyone was happy. Like we had 5 ties, as coach said. So, it was a great experience.
You were one of 9 Manitoba female hockey league players to represent Team Manitoba here. I got to see the picture on social media with the team together with those 9 players. How proud does that make you to be a part of that group representing this great league of talent?
I'm really proud. It's like an awesome accomplishment, I should say, because I have a lot of younger girls back at home that look up to me and the other girls that made Team Manitoba. So just getting to be one of them that the younger kids get to look up to is just awesome.
Yeah, for sure. Being able to be a role model like that, no doubt about it. Did you get any messages of encouragement from girls like that or any family members throughout the event?
I have a really supportive family, so I got a lot of messages, and one of my cousins that's a teacher got to play a few of our hockey games in our class. So her school, my school, got to watch it and stuff. So I should say Lundar's a pretty supportive place to be.
Would you say that that makes the whole experience even that much more amazing, I guess I should say, just knowing that not only you get to represent your province at such a cool event, but also knowing that you have that much great support back in a small community in Lundar?
Yeah, 100%. I love it so much.
For you, this is your last tournament you get to play in for the national women's team for the U18 level. You've had a chance to play in this tournament last year too, from what I've seen. Talk about, the lessons you've been able to learn from these tournaments and take out of them to help and provide to your Interlake Lightning team once you come back and join them.
Yeah, I think you learn absolutely any life skill you could possibly need on and off the ice when you go to these types of tournaments. Just being like humbled and getting to meet so many people and just the respect and the desire people have to play and just never giving up and having that grit to keep playing nonstop.
Well, for you, you have a history of being recognized as a dedicated player in the sport, winning the award for Interlake, their U15 team in 2019, 2020, and then or 2020, 2021, and then last year's Interlake Lightning team, or 2021, 2022 Interlake Lightning team.
Yeah.
Just does that, kind of point to the type of player you are, having such dedication to the game, always put in the work for you to be recognized as that type of player throughout your time playing hockey?
Yeah, I love this sport. I try to be the best I can be out there. I try to be the best team player, best individual. Like if I can put all my time into it, I will. So like I try to be as dedicated as I can and just be that much supportive as a teammate for my others.
So how much did that mean last season to be able to be named team MVP? Obviously, you being a goaltender, as well as anyone that the team outside, is a lot to thank and a lot to credit for the success that you can have as a goaltender. But for you, you've had to face a lot of shots throughout the years playing for the Interlake Lightning. So to have that award given to you last season, knowing how much you mean to the team, how special was that for you?
It was incredible. I didn't see it coming because, there's a lot of girls on the team that deserved it as well. So, but it was awesome to be getting that award and just having that under my belt and just like getting to use that and just push that for myself and use that to push some other girls to keep being their best too.
Your save percentage has been pretty phenomenal throughout the years, and it's no different this year. A 941 save percentage to start off in the MFHL. What goes into your success, would you say you have out there on the ice? Is it that dedication? Is it the skill set that you bring out there? What exactly makes Rachel Hallerson the type of goaltender she has been to be able to be as consistently dominant as you have been at the U18 AAA level?
I just try to be, yeah, as dedicated as I can to the sport. Like when I get on the ice, I'll go on the ice and I'll train. I train with the ice lab, so getting out there to train and just working on everything I need to work on and getting those little mistakes that I've been like having, just fixing those up and getting to fix those up and like use them on the ice just makes it 10 times better. So I think just trying to be as dedicated as I can and like having the support from my hometown too it just helps me drive a little bit further.
For you, you've, like I said, spent many years with this Interlake Lightning organization, I guess, U15 level and the U18 level. Historically, they've been a team that's struggled. You've shown your talent throughout the years. So, has there ever been times where you've thought of maybe taking your talent somewhere else to have more success? Why exactly have you decided to stay with Interlake throughout the years, sticking with this organization?
Yeah, so we haven't been the best team out there, like, but we are a close team. Like we try our hardest out there, but I have thought to go somewhere else and like try to play somewhere else. But I thought like I'm doing good where I am. I'm I've made Team Manitoba twice now. I've made Team Manitoba Aboriginal and I'm still doing good and having like the opportunities to go places. So I think there was really no reason to ever leave. So I just stuck at home. And it's my last year too. So it's nice to stay home for my last year because I'll be gone. So, getting to keep playing with the Interlake is also awesome because this will mark 6 years with the Interlake program.
Oh yeah, for sure. The history there, for sure for you has been well documented. Like yourself saying that you played 16 years, that's crazy, spending that much
Mhm.
time in one place. But you've been able to see the progressions, I'm sure, of this team throughout the seasons. And from who I've talked to this year, seems like a lot of coaches always say Interlake, as much as they struggle, this is a team that's always going to give 100% and a great effort. Would you say that's going to be the biggest part of any type of success this Interlake Lightning team has this season, is just leaving it all out on the ice and hoping for the best?
Yeah, I think we are a team where you expect us not to win, but we will go out there and do our absolute best to try to get a W under our belt. So honestly, I think that the drive that our team has is amazing.
So, I mean, Eastman's been a team that's been near the top of the standings this season. So to beat them back on October 28th, how huge of a moment was it for this Interlake Lightning group this year?
It was ecstatic. Like everyone was so happy finally getting a win under our belt that was regular season and especially against Eastman just because like we've had close games against them in the past and them also being higher in the stands this year is just awesome getting that under our belt and having that with us.
I'm sure the team is heading into the upcoming weekend with a ton of confidence, knowing that there's two very beatable teams on the schedule in the Pembina Valley Hawks and the Central Plains Capitals. What's your confidence level? And I guess along with the teams truly heading into this upcoming weekend of games.
I for sure got a lot of confidence in the team, and I'm pretty sure the team has a lot of confidence in us all as well, because like we've played the Caps once before in preseason and we tied them 1-1. So I think just having this time to practice and we've had a few games under our belt now, I think we have the capability to try to beat them and have that. And then especially PV, we've never played them before, so that's going to be a new experience for us. And I think if we just go out there and do our best, I think we could get some possible wins this weekend.
We've talked so much about your dedication to the game as well as the work you put in. Can you take us through what a week of preparation looks like for Rachel Hallerson heading into whether it's a 1 game or 2 game weekend like this one coming up?
hmm We practice every Monday, Wednesdays as a team, and have workouts on Wednesday as a team, and then I do goalie sessions on Tuesdays as a team, or me and my goalie partner do Tuesdays, or goalie sessions on Tuesdays. So, I'm on the ice a few times, and then possibly Thursdays I could be on the ice, and then I try to work out as much as possible those throughout the week, and then just when it comes up to the weekend for the games, I think I just gotta go out there and everything that I put into the week, I just gotta put into the weekend, and especially going with the team too, like, we all gotta do it and just put everything on the ice to try to win.
Not sure if you will be playing in the game against Central Plains or if Elise Denbo will be as well, but you were a teammate with her, of course, for this past week with Team Manitoba. If you do face off against her, how exciting is that, knowing that possibility is around the corner?
It'll be pretty exciting because she is one absolutely talented goalie, and she is so funny and a great teammate. So I think if we got to play each other again, it would be really funny. And just having Riley as the coach for Caps too, and he was my coach this past week, just having that would just be a great experience and just good to have everyone back together and have one last game.
Well, it'll be exciting for sure if that goaltending duel is on tap for that game between the Interlake Lightning and the Central Plains Capitals coming up in the MFHL this week. And Rachel Halderson, member of Team Manitoba's national women's team, U18 team that competed in Dawson Creek, BC in the past week, as well as senior goaltender for the Interlake Lightning, joining this edition of the MFHL podcast. Rachel, best of luck to you and the team coming up this weekend and for the rest of the season. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you.
And Rachel Hallerson joining this edition of the MFHL podcast, brought to you by Goaltenders, Terrico, and Make Canada Fasteners and Tools. And Halderson's Lightning, well, they had to play without her. On Sunday, she was not in net against the Eastman Selects. It was Jane Sugimoto getting the start. It ended up being a 3-1 loss for the Interlake Lightning, but it was a night for a good cause. If we take a look at their social media page, I just found this, just became aware of it. It was their Hockey Fights Cancer event, so always great to see hockey leagues doing this, raising money for cancer, raising money for a great cause to try to, fight against a terrible, terrible disease. But yeah, for the Interlake Lightning, in terms of their upcoming schedule, they'll be taking on the Pembina Valley Hawks and the Central Plains Capitals coming up this weekend. And if we take a look at the upcoming weekend of games, it actually will be starting on the 16th, kicking things off with the Central Plains Capitals facing off against the Yellowhead Chiefs. The Winnipeg Ice and Winnipeg Avros will be playing on Friday night at Seven Oaks Arena, first matchup between the two rivals this season. Taking a look at the other games on Friday, we're going to see the Hawks taking on the Lightning in Stonewall, so in Interlake's home barn, at 7:30 p.m. Taking a look at the Saturday slate of games, going to see the Yellowhead Chiefs visiting Seven Oaks Arena to take on the Winnipeg Avros at 4:30 p.m. The Pembina Valley Hawks take on the Winnipeg Ice at the Scotiabank Hockey for All Center, which is the Bell MTS Iceplex, or formerly known as that now. The Selects taking on the Wildcats at Hartney Arena on Saturday night, and Interlake taking on the Central Plains Capitals at 7:30 p.m. at the Veterans Memorial Sports Complex. And then to finish off the weekend, we are going to be getting 3 games on Sunday between the Ice and the Chiefs in Winnipeg at the Hockey for All Center. The Hawks taking on the Selects at 2:30 p.m. at the Access Event Center in Morden, and the Westman Wildcats taking on the Central Plains Capitals, the BDO Center for the Community, at 2 p.m. Central Time. In terms of the standings in the league, or I guess the past results outside of the Eastman Selects and Interlake Lightning game, it was the Westman Wildcats taking on the Eastman Selects the night before on Remembrance Day at the Neverville Centennial it was the Wildcats getting back in the win column, winning 4-2, and Westman almost beat the Avros. It was a close one. They were up 1-0 heading in to the third period on Sunday, but the Avros battled back, scored 2, Westman scored 1 to have this game go into overtime. Nothing was solved there, so we had to go into a shootout, and the Avros end up taking it, improving their record excuse me, to 6-1 on the season, moving into a tie with the Yellowhead Chiefs for second place. So this weekend is going to be huge coming up. Westman also right behind the Avros and the Chiefs, but they have way more games played than them, so the Avros and Chiefs with the advantage there. With the games in hand. The Winnipeg Ice, the first place team, as you can see there, the Interlake Lightning, they're looking for 2 wins this weekend. Like I said, against 2 winnable opponents by the standings, as Pembina Valley is only 3 points up on them. Central Plains, a team that is winless up until this point. So should be an intriguing and exciting weekend of MFHL hockey coming up. For more information on everything MFHL, visit their website at mfhlu18AAA.com. We're going to head to one final transition for this episode, and I'll be back with some final words here on episode 4 of the MFHL podcast here on G-Show Productions. Well, you made it to the end of this edition of the MFHL podcast, brought to you by Make-Ken Fasteners and Tools, Terrico, and Goaltenders. Before we end things off, actually, I want to get into one more thing, and that is the Player of the Weeks that were announced today per the MFHL. You can probably find these on their social media pages. I found this on their website, mfhlu18AAA.com. But Rio Pierre, Player of the Week from the Winnipeg Avros. She had a goal and an assist in the 5-2 win over the Westman Wildcats. She's currently tied for 5th in MFHL scoring, which is fantastic, like we already showed. MFHL calling her a 200-foot player, a player that plays a solid 200-foot game, and she's had the accomplishment of making Hockey Manitoba's U16 Player of Excellence program team. Laura Melissa of the Winnipeg Ice, congratulations to her for winning Goaltender of the Week. She ended up stopping all 22 shots she faced against the Eastman Selects for a 1-0 shutout win. Her save percentage, as already mentioned, ridiculous, .958 on the season. She has a 4-1 record, of course, with 2 shutouts. And, congratulations to Rio Pierre and Laura Melissa on those great accomplishments this past weekend of action in the MFHL. Should be a good one coming up. We'll show you guys the schedule once again. But, the master schedule for you guys. Games from Thursday all the way until Sunday. And should be very entertaining indeed. Starting off on Friday with 2 games, of course. 4 games on Saturday. And finishing off with 3 games on the Sunday. I want to thank Stephanie Jacob and Brianne Compte for coming on this edition of the show and being the guests for this week, along with Rachel Halderson. You're going to have some more great guests for next week's edition of the show. Special thanks again to Make-Ken Fasteners and Tools, your one-stop shop for all your industrial needs, for sponsoring this edition of the MFHL podcast, as well as Terrico, serving Manitoba producers for over 80 years, and Goaltenders, your goalie's personal video review service. Be sure to check us out on social media. Type in G-Show Productions, you should be able to find us. We got our descriptions down below and to everywhere we are. Social media. We will be posting an update, a promo for next episode in terms of who will be on as the guest. Should have some more fantastic players to showcase here on the official Manitoba Female Hockey League podcast. That episode comes out at 9 p.m. Central Time next Monday for episode 5. So can't wait to be back for that. If you're a Winnipeg Jets fan, be sure to check out our podcast on Wednesday night at 9 p.m. the Jet Fuel podcast. We dropped one on Sunday as well, so be sure to check that one out if you missed it. But yeah, hoping to have some good guests on that show, to have some good conversations about my favorite hockey team, as well as those who tune in, their favorite hockey team for Jets Nation. But fantastic weekend of MFHL hockey coming up. Be sure to go out and check out a game if you can. I believe it's only $10 to go out and watch or something like that. So not a bad deal to watch the best female hockey in the province. But till next Monday night, folks, I've been your host, Graham the G Show Forsyth, giving you the salute, peacing out, and saying so long on this Monday night. Enjoy the rest of your week, everybody. Stay safe out there, and see you in 7 days.